I remember when I bought my first XRP, I thought, oh, I'm so lucky. By tomorrow, it's going to just go up a huge amount. You know, this idea that I got in just in time. And here in early part of 2021, we're still talking about crypto mass adoption. So my name is Lars. This is our new to DeFi series, number 4 in the series here at the DeFiStandard.com, which is all about the work of Mickey B. Fresh, sharing his research and his teaching about XRP, Flare, and this whole ecosystem. So I did think, it's called fear of missing out. I did think like, oh, I got in just in time because all of these things are happening. And if you are thinking about getting into this field, right, that's the purpose here, to have a conversation if you're new to this, what we call this space. Okay, so what are some of the factors that you start to pay attention to? And for me, I was like, oh, well, all these banks are supporting XRP. Amazon just said they're supporting it. They're in conversation with governments and stuff like that. And since then, it's like, oh my gosh, all the different factors that play into cryptocurrency, blockchain, and its adoption in society. When you talk about money, you're talking about something that is involved in so many aspects of our life, personally, community, and in society. So I thought I'd just just chat about those a few with you and just some of the things to think about. So fiat. I don't want to go deeply into that, but back in 2008, the crisis that we went through, I remember when we came out of it, I was thinking to myself, without really having gone deeply into it, but it was like, what did we really solve? Did we really address any of the fundamental issues? And in 2019, after I got XRP, and like you're going to do if you haven't already, or maybe you already done this in other realms, but started to look into this, it's like, oh, we didn't really take care of the issues of 2008, and in fact, we're kind of set up for them to recur. And so this whole idea of fiat and the idea that you can print money and have inflation, and one of the attractions of crypto is that many of the platforms, there's no inflation. It's a set number of tokens. And so if you have a set number of tokens and there can be no more, but more value is coming onto the network, then the price of those tokens has to increase to reflect the value of the token. In fact, some systems are set up so that whenever it's used, transacted, a small amount is subtracted from the total number of tokens, called burning. So when you remove something, it's called burning. There's another term. And when you make something, it's called minting. And so there's other situations in which you can make new tokens, you can mint them. So all those different things kind of to figure out. But so fiat, there's a percentage of people that are in the crypto field because they feel more confident here, or at least they feel less confident with the dollar and fiat and its current state. Another piece that's important in crypto mass adoption, that again, I thought I'm not going to have to pay attention to that. I didn't even know what the SEC stood for. It's the Securities Exchange Commission. But back in 2015, as an example, XRP was coming along and they were developing a whole bunch of stuff to be used on the XRP ledger for decentralized exchanges and trading and all these different kinds of things. And then along came FinCEN, one of our regulatory bodies, and sued Ripple. And the result of that was they paid a fine, and there were restrictions on how they could use the ledger because of things called KYC and AML. See, there's more terms. KYC stands for Know Your Customer, and AML stands for Anti-Money Laundering. And so, of course, governments and institutions are going to want to know how value is moving, how it's transacted, and how to tax it. All of this comes into play with regulations and the adoption of cryptocurrency into the mainstream. Out of that lawsuit, Ripple was deemed a currency, a digital virtual currency. And then now at the end of 2020, Ripple is again sued, this time by the Securities Exchange Commission, who is saying, we don't really think you're a currency. We think you're a security and that you've been trading as a security without being a registered security. And that case is currently still uh, being being argued out in the courts. And because of that, XRP, the price of it, has not participated in this current bull run that we're going through, that so many other coins are increasing in value. Okay, so if you come into this field, you can just read an article at Forbes or something that says this and this is going to happen and make an investment, and maybe you'll come out great. But these are some of the things that are going on. And if you start listening to videos, you're going to be hearing about all this stuff. And if you haven't been introduced to it, like me, like I was, you're going to be confused. There's so many terms, right? I just mentioned KYC, AML, FinCEN, SEC, all that stuff. I think in the early days, a lot of the people that first got in were real techno geeks. They just loved the idea that you could create something like this in code, that you could create a system that was trustless, that could give you a trusted result, and that could move value around without needing any sort of a centralized authority. But today, the technology is exploding, and things like decentralized finance have become possible. And the tokenization of, so that means to digitize and put on a blockchain actual physical assets like securities or even gold or real estate. So this technology is booming. And it's one of the things that people who are in cryptocurrency, who are studying it, are like, oh my gosh, this is gonna make the internet boom just look tiny in comparison to what is coming. So once you get in it, you're going to be looking at like, oh, how do these different technologies apply to different parts of our world and our economy? And that's going to become then something you take into account as you make your decisions. Something that nobody thought back in the first days of Bitcoin was going to be an issue was climate change, CO2, and energy. And now we're at the point where even like the International Monetary Fund and the European Central Bank, the ECB, the IMF, are talking about green cryptocurrency, that we need to be supporting green finance. And so in that regard, like XRP is in a really, really good spot. XRP transacts as efficiently as email, very, very low cost, very, very high speed. Bitcoin, on the other hand, first one to come along, not efficient, either in speed or in energy usage. But will there be technological shifts that come about that make Bitcoin able to transact fast and make it able to transact in a much more green way? And Flare Networks, which is the first utility fork off of XRP, see, there's a lot of language right there. Like a fork is a branch off of using the same code, but now having a different purpose. And that happened with Bitcoin. There was Litecoin and all these different things that forked off there, usually because of disagreements. Flare Network actually forked off as just a different function with a great regard for XRP, and like forking off and now building out from that. On the Flare network, you're actually able to bring Bitcoin on and give it the abilities of smart contracts. Last video, I talked about that being a major piece of Ethereum, and the speed of transaction of XRP. So I had thought, okay, just that Bitcoin's never going to be a player because it's so slow and takes so much energy. It's just not going to be a player. And in its current form and with the current climate pressure and energy pressure, it wouldn't. But that goes to technology. And is there technology that might allow Bitcoin to meet these new pressures that are arising? And because it's been around a long time, will it benefit from regulations, and will it be a good alternative to fiat? Well, all of those things are questions to be, to be in your mind if you get into this field, and it's a reason to be hanging out here at the DeFiStandard.com, listening to Mickey's work and understanding what's going on. And then, like almost everybody who's here, we have a large Patreon group where there's a Telegram conversation that goes on 24/7, and a lot of live Zoom calls with conversation as well. But where people are looking around and gaining information and sharing that, and just trying to understand as best as possible what's going on here so people can make wise decisions um, for the way they use their resources, their financial resources, for the sake of their family, their investments, and their goals. So I'm trying here in these conversations to just at a really, really basic level, it's just like, yeah, there's a lot going on here. And if we can just kind of have a picture of the field, um, it's a lot easier to start walking around in it. One of the things that like I told you back in the first video, this person like, what coin should I buy? And I'm sure that there are all sorts of people saying, buy this one, buy that one. This is going to do this is going to do that. But if you don't have a sense of the big picture, it's not out of the realm that you're going to end up in a situation that may not be as well going for you. And even if you do all the research, right now XRP is being sued by the Securities and Exchange Commission and not participating in the price increase that so many different other coins are currently going through. So hopefully this is allowing you to just kind of get some sense of the field, um, and nothing in detail, but just sort of a broad picture. And for me, it's become fascinating, completely interesting. I love being in the middle of this because I believe that the world is in a time of enormous change on all sorts of different fronts. And one that hasn't caught the eye of too many people yet is the field of cryptocurrency, which I think is going to play a large part in lots and lots and lots of different aspects of our life as we move towards trustless ways to be able to trust things happening in our world, everything from finance to voting to where our food comes from. All right, hope this is helpful. I think from here on out, we're going to start digging a little deeper, or more specifically and at a very high level, not deep at all, into XRP and the Flare network and what those are offering to the whole field that we've been trying to get a grasp on here in these first 4 videos. Thanks a bunch. See you soon.